And there was a what do you call it when you have drinks the night before? Cocktail party. There's a cocktail party the night before, and these drug warriors from all over the country are falling over themselves. I go, do you not see the hypocrisy?
Yeah, right.
And the bottom line is that marijuana really is safer than alcohol. There was a secure lockdown facility in northern New Mexico. 125 kids that were locked up. How many of you kids here are in here for drug-related crime? Every single hand went up. And the bottom line was that these kids had been convicted of large quantities of drugs. Well, because of our laws, these kids were the mules, and they were going to be given another chance. That was just the reality. I pardoned a woman in New Mexico who was serving a 25-year sentence for an addiction to Tylenol-3 with codeine. She had written herself 130 prescriptions for Tylenol-3. She'd served 6 years of her sentence and nothing else. She wrote, I released her from prison. The response was, what if she uses it again? What if she does it again? I don't care, I'll pardon her again. She has a health problem, not. Cheerleaders from the Rio Rancho that wouldn't show up and cheer because their parents didn't want to send them the wrong message by getting out and supporting anything that I was doing. My message to kids, I love my kids. I love my kids. I don't want to see them in a position where they become impaired and somehow get behind the wheel of a car. So when it comes to my kids, I love you. I love you. You give me a call, you get in a situation where you're impaired, I'm going to come pick you up, no questions asked, because again, bottom line, I love you. I broke my back in office, while I was in office. And I used painkillers for about 10 days. And after I used the painkillers for 10 days, it took me about 4 weeks to get off the painkillers after I stopped using. I had a very good friend who had a bad accident right after mine. And I said, man, you got to watch out for the painkillers. He goes, man, I'm using ganja. I'm not having any problem with medical marijuana. It works. I went to a Texas town hall meeting where a guy stands up and he said, you're talking about decriminalizing heroin? You're talking about somehow condoning. There were 9 kids in our community that died from heroin overdose, and screw you, and out the door he walks, and I swear you could have heard a pin drop. And I said, look, I don't know what the circumstances are, but let me guess. Let me guess that the heroin supplier got arrested, sent to jail, and in comes a new supply, quality, quantity unknown. And I hate to say it, but prohibition might have killed those kids. And somebody else said, yeah, you could have heard a pin drop. Somebody said, you know what, that's exactly what happened. I had a death threat from Manal High School that I was sending the wrong message to kids at Manal High School in Albuquerque. My press secretary said, what was the message? The governor's saying 21 times to not do drugs, or the 17 times that he said, if you do drugs, be really careful, don't get caught, and I don't want to send you to prison. One of my fellow governors approached me during one of the last governor's meetings and said, Gary, I got to talk to you. My son is smoking pot. So he's hanging out with the wrong crowd. He's smoking pot. He's kind of lethargic. I just don't know what to do. I said, well, has he been arrested? No. I said, well, isn't that what you're really worried about? I said, you need to tell him that you love him. And I said, and hey, he's just going through this enlightenment phase. And he goes, that's exactly what he's saying. I can't tell you how many other politicians have approached me and said, I wish I could say what it is that you were saying. I think that we've reached a tipping point on this issue. Massachusetts voting to decriminalize marijuana. The city of Denver voting to decriminalize marijuana on the basis of marijuana being safer than alcohol. A Gallup poll just within the last week, 53% to 47% saying that marijuana ought to be legalized. You know what? When 53% saying no, when 53% of the population says that 47% of the population ought to go to jail for their activities, that is not good law. Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results, what's that the definition of? Insanity. I really wanted to come here today to thank all of you. To thank all of you for all that you've done, and to say not to give up. And by give up, not to say, gee, we've gotten all these, things are happening. Well, I just want us to tell you to not be content with what's happening. Now is the time to really put the pedal to the metal. And again, a huge thank you to the Drug Policy Alliance, Ethan in particular, and to everyone here. I wasn't alone going out and talking about this issue. It was a lot of really hardworking, intelligent people that I am very, very proud to be a part of. Thank you.